Yeah.
The things that we would have the capacity to prove are the micronutrient deficiencies
That
that do stem from if you're following the diet
correctly,
as intended,
as intended.
right?
I shouldn't use correctly. You're
Uh,
right.
why don't you start with one of them? I'll take the next one. We'll kind
Absolutely.
of
So
back and forth this.
yeah, we'll rattle these off. So first one, vitamin A, which is important for the function of eyes, heart, lungs, kidneys, and other organs. So um, you can avoid some of these deficiencies on the carnivore diet. For instance, grass-fed beef contains significantly more beta carotene, which is a compound that is converted into vitamin A in the human body than grain-fed beef. Um, so grass-fed steak may have as much as 740 micrograms of beta carotene per kilogram of meat. Um, and actually, when discussing these ways to avoid these nutritional deficiencies, micronutrient deficiencies, I realized the carnivore diet is not for me because some of the stuff that you have to eat. So, um,
Oh,
yeah. So beef liver has about 1,400 micrograms of retinol per ounce,
it
and
also has a different place other than my plate.
yeah. And
Don't
then
touch
another
it.
one like pork liver is a great source of vitamin A, but I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I need vitamin A that badly. I'll just eat fruits and vegetables.
So you're saying you couldn't be the second coming of the Liver King?
No, that guy eats gross stuff, man.
Yeah, it's all good. Uh, well, that was A vitamins.
Yep,
B vitamins, right? Folate, biotin, right? Essential to metabolism, right? DNA protection, cell division, right?
yep.
Mitosis, right? Cell
Mitosis.
division. Uh, this deficiency of biotin, which is one of the vitamins, could be hair loss, rashes, logical, folate deficiency, the other vitamin, because there's a litany of B
Yeah,
vitamins. We're just covering two right here. Folate deficiencies can cause a type of anemia, right?
yep.
Which is forms red blood cells. It's not like
Means they carry less oxygen, so you suffer from fatigue.
which is one of the things. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, a diet that's supposed to be I want to say I want to say freeing, I guess, because it feels like when you someone say I'm on the carnivore diet, I want as far as that, like you don't talk about the micro, which are tremendous.
yeah. And how you and what
Like,
you
so is it worth it to go on this diet? Like, if it's not for an autoimmune disease or if it's not for something that can be directly contributed to eliminating some of the things from your diet,
yeah,
is is it worth it?
yeah. I mean probably not, especially when these vitamins and are so readily available in fruits and vegetables, and just if you take folate for example, a great source on the carnivore diet of folate is goose liver, and it's like
Oh, I didn't know that.
and it's like
And knowing that doesn't do anything for me.
yeah. So like, so when one of the claims on the carnivore diet is that
You have to do a lot of homework.
it's easily sustainable, is it though? Like you're just under the assumption that all I have to do is eat meat. But you're not you're not balancing your micronutrients, and in order to do that you have to understand that you're going to be eating organs. And quite a few of them as you go down the list. So,
Yeah, no, I mean,
um, So vitamin C, essential to the human diet, because our bodies cannot make this compound. Um, it's used to make hormones and collagen. Um, the human body stores about 1,500 milligrams of it at a time. The storage level gets below about 350 milligrams. symptoms of scurvy start to appear, which I thought was so vitamin C.
Isn't that just pirates?
Yeah, so vitamin C deficiency is like one of those things that like before even researching, doing any research on the carnivore diet, like you never hear of it because it's so hard to get scurvy because like vitamin C, right? It's like
Are you ready for some useless knowledge?
okay, far away.
Ever heard the phrase limey?
Yes, obviously. Yeah.
You know why it was used?
I'm. It has
People
something
eating a lot of limes to fight scurvy.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I've heard stories of like pirates doing like the whole
Yeah.
Godfather scene where he's got the orange in the mouth, and they actually used to just put like slices of orange in their mouth, keep it in there to get the vitamin C to prevent scurvy. So
Yeah. I mean, it's funny if you look at the history of humanity. There's a lot of things that we did and still do, or that like we don't know why, right?
yeah,
Uh Fascial netting around our muscles is, I mean, going off topic here for a little bit, but is something that we've more recently learned about, right? And what's one way to help loosen up that myofascial netting, right? Yoga. Yoga's been around for years.
thousands. Yeah,
But did they know that then?
yeah,
No.
no. Yeah,
So it's like
yeah. Everything was so
I eat
much
limes because I make me feel good.
more. Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. So one of the best things about vitamin C that I read was um, generalized risk of dying goes down as blood levels of vitamin C increases. That's an actual stat. Like, oh, you want vitamin C in your diet then, right? Like it makes total sense. And I have read even as far as cancer studies being done where they're injecting tumors with high, very extremely high doses of vitamin C directly into the tumor, and it's causing shrinkage of the tumors. So vitamin C is a great micronutrient.
Uh,
So yeah, you almost can't get enough vitamin C from the carnivore diet. It's almost better to just supplement it at that point because you need it in your diet. You're probably not going to get it. In
same
order,
thing with the goose liver with the vitamin B, right?
yeah,
It's a lot of like supplementations. Like the whole thing with diets is they're supposed to be more. I don't want to say easy, right? Because typically people use it for most of the
yeah,
time, which they don't want to. They look at it like, right, instead of like this is good for me, blah blah blah. They're
yeah,
like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, and like best diets are the ones that work, or the lifestyle changes that work, are the ones that people
can
have
adhere.
an easy time sticking to.
Yeah, absolutely. So how could you possibly get vitamin C on the carnivore diet? I love this. Eat spleen, thymus, and lung, raw or lightly cooked.
Not well done.
Oh, well done.
That's...
Oh, that's your breaking point.
Nah, man, these things are weird.
Yeah,
Weird.
yeah,
So I mean, we're just going in alphabetical order here,
yep.
right? Vitamin E is a fat soluble antioxidant that protects tissues. Fat is burned for energy. Severe deficiencies in this are rare, right? But low intakes of vitamin E have been linked to high oxidative stress and
Doesn't
what
sound
does
good.
that mean? It's not good. I mean, just because the daily recommended intake of vitamin E is right,
Which
it's
is why,
relatively low, which is
yeah,
why it's hard to be
it's
severely
why when you
deficient.
hear it's rare, yeah,
And right, and you know, uh, can't get it from me, right?
yep,
100 grams of fish eggs contain about 7 grams.
milligrams.
Why
Yeah.
am I on this diet? Nothing.
Fish roe, I can tolerate that though. I mean, like caviar, right? Like I'm not saying I eat
Yes,
it on the
yes.
regular. Not saying
Let me put my monocle on.
not saying I would eat it on the regular, but I'm saying like all right, like if you told me like hey, eat this or die, like, okay, I'll do fish roe, like, you know.
Champagne wishes and caviar dreams.
Yeah. Um.
No, I mean, but like, also, said it before. Yeah, so caviar, expensive.
Yeah. Unless you're
There
going
are
out.
so many ways to,
Yeah.
so many barriers of entry and to maintain this.
So here's the thing, right? When you think about the origins of what why the carnivore diet is is the right way to eat, right? When they say like this is the right way to eat because this is how, going back thousands of years, this is how our ancestors ate, and they were all healthy. Not that we know, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, life expectancy has only shot up more and more as years gone by. But yeah, let's talk about
Yeah.
that.
But
If you roll your ankle, you're dead to the tribe.
we're
Yeah.
we're talking about, people who would go out and hunt and kill an animal and eat every little bit of that animal. They would go fishing and they would catch their own fish. They would eat every piece of that fish.
Yeah.
That's not how we live anymore. That's what makes this diet way harder to do today than it would have been 1,000 years ago, or more than 1,000 years ago. You know, so it's
I
yeah,
mean, it does make sense for our ancestors to have done that. Like you said, every part of the animal.
yeah.
And part of the animal you don't eat is a coat.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. You're 100% correct. That's not how we do things now. Now you go to the supermarket. Hi, can you point me in the direction of thymus? Sorry.
Crunchwrap Supreme extra caviar. Uh,
Yeah. It's next vitamin K, essential for blood clotting and bone metabolism. Deficiency can cause bleeding and osteoporosis. Daily recommended intake of vitamin K is 90 to 120 micrograms. Canned tuna is actually a pretty good source of vitamin K.
and that's actually a pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's like the first one that's been, wallet friendly. Um,
Sit down and eat tuna and caviar. Oh god, how so?
yeah, and the other one being again the grass-fed lean beef, like grass-fed. What bothers me about that is it's grass-fed lean beef to get vitamin K, but
Which is high in protein, low
in
in
fat.
fat.
So
Is,
again, a lot of contradictions in the carnivore diet.
calcium, another one. Vital for bone formation, blood pressure regulation, nerve functions, and hormone signaling.
Yep.
All important things that we need. I mean, symptoms of calcium deficiency, cramps, right? Because muscle contractions,
Yeah.
part of irregular heartbeats, again, muscular issue, because the
Correct.
heart is at the end of the day a muscle.
Yep.
And then numbness or tingling fingers. All good things. All good things, as Buff would say. Daily recommended intake for calcium is about 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams for an adult. Canned fish bones.
Yeah, think about how you getting calcium from
Sardines.
just the meat part, right?
Right.
You have to
The
eat.
marrow of the bone.
Yeah.
Right. Even in the tiny little sardines.
Correct.
Right. But sardines up to 150.
Calcium
Calcium.
for 100 grams, which is
Yeah.
that's decent.
Yeah.
No.
But beef
Tripe,
contains about 150.
which I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure beef tripe is the lining of the intestine. So yeah, get right on that. Although
So either eat sardines whole or get in. I mean. Look, like we just said a few seconds ago. It makes sense for our ancestors because needed to.
Yep. Especially
And in today's society, like I guess you could try to do this, but like you're not hunting.
yeah.
So if you're not hunting, that means you're shopping. If you're shopping, these things are expensive.
Yeah.
So it's
or near impossible to find. I mean, I know like tripe is one like coming from an Italian family, like tripe is actually something to serve around Christmas. Um, yeah, but like so, like you can find these things, but it's not easy, and you pay for it, and that's the key takeaway. Um, but we mentioned eating the bones and the sardines. So another way to get calcium is bone marrow, right? Like,
Oh, you were looking for my
yeah,
answer.
yeah,
I
like
thought you were
eating,
like
yeah,
processing
like
your own
eating
thoughts.
actual bone marrow, which like is,
Part of the sardine.
I don't know if it's considered a delicacy or whatnot, but like I've seen it on like restaurant menus, like I like bone marrow,
I
and
mean, look,
people say
there's
it's
bone
flavorful.
broth too.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, it's becoming a little bit more readily acceptable
yeah.
to have marrow.
Hmm. You're not into it.
Hard pass.
Okay. So what's next? Potassium, essential nutrient that regulates fluid balance in cells and blood pressure. Symptoms of deficiency include increased blood pressure, obviously, kidney stones, constipation, muscle weakness, and irregular heartbeat. Daily recommendation of potassium is at least 2,600 up to 3,400 milligrams. But the USDA recommends closer to 4,700 milligrams. Some of the best sources of potassium for a carnivore include mollusks, especially octopus. I could do with that, and salmon. Um,
So for the first time, we have something that's readily available. That's
salmon
not
being,
particularly.
yeah. But so interesting. So they're saying you should get for up to
700.
4,700 milligrams. Um, a 100-gram serving of octopus is roughly 630 milligrams. That's a lot of octopus to eat.
I can't my statement. Uh, I mean, but what's salmon like? Gotta be close to that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But that means you still means you'd have to be eating a large amount of
yeah.
salmon.
So even if it's a little less, and say it's whatever 550, it's like getting upwards of 4,700 is a lot of salmon to eat, all while staying within your caloric intake for the day. So it's like a lot going on there. This is a tougher
Very
diet to
easy to
follow.
follow.
Yeah, tougher diet to follow than people think.
A lot of these diets have long term implications too. So like while you're experimenting what it does short term,
Yeah, but like with any elimination diet, though, they should be
short term.
at the very least temporary, whether it's short term or moderate, whatever the case may be. It's not something you're doing.
Well, I'm considering like 6 months.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, that definitely.
Right,
Like
because
I
that
can
that
see that.
in the scope of orthopedics,
Like you said,
that
30
would be
days.
considered an acute injury,
Yeah,
right? Not a chronic injury. Chronic
yeah,
injuries after 6 months, I believe,
yeah.
right?
So people are like, oh, I'm gonna give this a shot for 30 days. It's like, well, why? Right? Like you're not even giving it a chance to see if there are any actual
So let's be
positives.
real. If you're giving the I'm gonna try it, and then someone's like, "Hey, we're gonna go out to the bar," are you gonna be like, "Well, I'm trying this diet"?
Yeah,
I mean, some people might. Hey, kudos to you, but
yeah,
like a regular person who's trying it just to see what it's like,
yeah. That's
they're
it.
not gonna throw out their social life.
That's another big aspect of this diet is the social impact. Honestly, you know, somebody invites you over to eat dinner, you have to say no or bring your own food, right? Because realistically, like they're gonna make what would typically eat, and like, oh, you happen to have any bone broth lying around, they're gonna be like,
I have to say, when you're hosting people, I can't stand them. Oh well, do you actually have something completely out of the realm of possibilities for me specifically? Because you knew I'd be here.
yeah,
Like, kind of selfish as a house guest.
yeah, like it's like, like, yeah, I know you invited us over for this nice, roasted chicken dinner, but I really need to hit my daily intake of mollusk here. So,
Bring on the
yeah,
I mean, that's fine, but I mean, octopus tastes fine. There's nothing about this that seems to lending itself to
Bees.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Then there's also copper, right?
Oh yeah.
Supports the enzymes that manage oxygen and energy production in the body. Deficiencies have been linked to blood vessel, bone, and neurological disorders. Daily recommended intake of copper is 900 what
Yeah.
microgram adults. Here we go again,
Yep.
right? Beef liver
Beef liver.
is an excellent source of copper
Yeah.
with about 15 milligrams of copper per 100 grams, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But like again, beef liver. What else? What else?
Octopus.
Mollusks and
Yeah.
sweetbreads.
Which, again,
Which I hate that name
right?
because you always sweetbreads. Is
I
it
can do
dessert?
I'll
No,
give that a
no,
go.
it's pancreas.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
So when you hear sweetbreads, like I immediately think like 2 Michelin star restaurant. Like who serves sweetbreads, right? Like it's not again, it's just not something you typically find.
Like pudding, like black and white pudding that you get in England,
Yeah.
which is not
Not-
dessert either.
No, not Jello pudding.
Why don't you close this out with the final micronutrient?
Magnesium, yes, one of the most essential dietary minerals, important for energy metabolism, mood, protein building, bone development, DNA production. Pretty important micronutrient.
So I'm assuming this hits all of the
Or as,
what you need for magnesium.
yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah. What do we got?
So daily recommended intake of magnesium, 320 to 420 milligrams. Ironically, it's abundant in nuts and beans, which I would eat no problem.
Not on the carnivore
Not on
diet.
the carnivore diet. Good sources of magnesium include fish eggs, mollusks again. This time,
We could hit France up for this one. Some
snails.
little escargot.
Snails, a good source of magnesium. Cod, salmon, bone broth. Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm just
yeah, and
people eat snacks.
yeah. So, and a little caveat on the bone broth here. Bones that have been boiled for less than 12 hours do not produce magnesium-rich broth. So, half a day.
Oh, because it has to
Yeah,
extract it.
has to really
It takes-
draw it out. So, end of the day, it really it goes to show like the cost of some of the foods on the list, the availability of some of the foods on the list, the willingness to eat some of the foods on the list,